everyone. Today I'm going to teach you how to draw a car from the 1920s. Please enjoy. So all the equipment I'm going to be using here is a sharp pencil, eraser, and eraser shield. And with that, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to start with the hood here. And what makes cars from the 1920s different than most is that they are extremely simple when you compare them to others. So you're going to have the ever so slight curve up here, right there. And it's just going to be real flat coming off right there. And there you have your hood, and I know it looks a lot like a rectangle, and that's pretty much what it should be for now. But let's keep moving on. I'm going to go with the fender, and you want your fender to be real thin. Nice and simple. So just make it necessarily just a really thick line. There you are. It's a fender right there for you. Now, if you were to have a more advanced 1920s, you can just do a slight up curve here, and then we're going to get to the windshield, which goes just directly up. And then you're going to have and for the roof, you're just going to have the ever so slight overlap right there. I'm probably going to have to correct that line, but for now, let's just get back to drawing the car. Let's see. In case you're wondering what all the weird spots on my eraser shield are, they're just clay. Messing earlier. Alright. And now, finish off a trunk here. Oops, no, that's not right. That is definitely not right. We need to get this the fender defined in first. There, now we made it a little bit longer. You can kind of see what's going on there. This is not long enough. There. Okay, now I have the general shape car. As usual, lots of mistakes are made when it comes to drawing these, so you gotta just fix them as you go. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay, now that I've got that all cleaned up to a bit more satisfaction, I can continue with drawing this car. Alright, so let's add in the headlights. Very simple shape. Just gonna have a kind of a rectangular-ish shaded thing here. 1930s would be smaller and more cone shaped for the headlight. Let's fill in this roof here just a little bit. This, of course, when I say 1920s vehicles, this excludes the Model T because Henry Ford was still making those around until 1927. And you can learn why he was doing that in my documentary of Understanding the Ford Model T. Because right now I need to talk about drawing other cars from the 20s. And this isn't a luxury car. This is your standard, just like down-to-earth car, what you're going to get besides the Model T, which was cheapest thing on wheels at the time. Okay, we're just going to make a little bit right there. I got to keep the windshield here visible, but it's going to be very square. Not a lot of refined machinery at this point, but the cars themselves are quite beautiful. The doors on these cars are going to be much easier to draw than other cars because they're very rectangular in nature. A little rectangle window in there. And I just need the ever so slight gap between here. Alright, now we need to add in our little indents for the grill, because they have some ventilation in there. Let's add these little let's add some little hinge indents right there. And then this little quarter here is too big not to have a window, so we're gonna shade this in. Hang on a second. Add that in there. This will kind of be like an early 20s luxury car, actually, now that I realize what I'm drawing. Sometimes you start drawing one thing and then you realize you're drawing something entirely else. But still is the same decade and all. Get the fenders out just a tad. Make them a little bit thicker, but you gotta keep them kind of thin. Otherwise, it's not gonna look quite right. I want more of those. And let's see. Just gotta add the bumpers, which are not very rounded in nature in general. Right there. One right there. Add a little tail light, even though actually just get rid of that because they probably wouldn't have a tail light on this car. People more concerned about where they were going. Not a lot of traffic on the roads back in those days when these things were built, so brake lights weren't really necessary. Usually people were pretty aware if an automobile was coming around, because it was still kind of a bit of a new thing back in the 20s. Well, not in the city, I suppose. In a city, you might be used to it, but in a county somewhere, you definitely would still have a bit of a get a horse attitude. Okay. Let's add a little hood emblem up here. There's that. Why don't we just make it a little bit more fancy? There. Shade this in a little bit more. All right. Gotta clean up these little lines right here. Oh, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. One car from the 1920s. Of course, this isn't perfect, and it's kind of a rush job. Still have a few line here and there that I need to correct, but this turned out pretty good. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, please remember that history belongs to God. It's His story.